My name is Jeff Forward. I am the chair of the board for Renewable Energy Vermont. I want to thank our sponsors. All Earth Renewables is our premier sponsor. You know, one thing you can really say about All Earth Renewables is it's a local company that really invests in their values. They do a great job of supporting this industry and advancing renewable energy in the state and providing lots of jobs. I also want to thank Green Mountain Power for they're providing your coffee and breakfast. I want to thank our members for supporting us and supporting this industry. How many of you are members? You know, all right. Okay, for all of you in the room who are not members, go talk to them or talk to us and think about becoming members. We need you, and this industry needs your support, and we need to work together to advance these policies. I also want to recognize some of the legislators in the room. There's Senator David Zuckerman is here somewhere. Senator Sirotkin is here somewhere. Representative Yanchak, Mike, I'm really sorry. I never get your name right. I'm really sorry. Mike Yanchachka, Representative Webb. You know, it's important the leadership that we get from the State House. I remember 20 years ago when this industry consisted of a handful of bearded hippies up on a roof experimenting with solar panels. You know, and many of you in this room will remember that as well. And now we are 16,000 strong in the clean energy industry in Vermont. That's incredible. You know, that's incredible growth. I saw Al Gore earlier this week, and he talked about the exponential growth in the renewable energy industry is what gives him hope, and we've seen that here in Vermont, and it's exciting, and it's not by accident. You know, you know, as I mentioned yesterday, we have more solar per capita than New Mexico. 10 times the solar capacity in Vermont to New Hampshire. And it's not because of our geography, it's because of our leadership. What this industry takes and what it needs in this state is it needs leadership in order to reach our goals of 90% renewables by 2050, which is a lofty goal, and it sounds way out there, but you know, we're a little state, and we have a big impact. And we can do this. You know, if we can't do it here, there's really not much hope in doing it elsewhere. And it's not easy to hold, you know, the State House together. You know, a lot of people from out of state think that, oh yeah, we're a one-party state, so it must be easy. I doubt it. I'll bet you the Speaker doubts that too. It takes real leadership in the State House to advance ambitious policies and to pull the coalition together. And we could not have a better speaker than Shap Smith. So I would ask you all to welcome Shap to our stage. Thank you very much.
Well, it's great to be here, and it was great earlier this week. I got a chance to sit on a round table with Vice President Gore, and you know, I've had the opportunity to see his presentations a couple times, and it's really depressing. I mean, really, really depressing. And for the first time in a presentation, he signaled that there was hope. He really suggested that we might be at a tipping point. And I think that tipping point has a lot to do with all of the people in this room and what you represent not only throughout the country, but throughout the world. And what we're seeing now is that throughout the world, the cost of renewable energy, even with all of the subsidies that exists for fossil fuel, is many times cheaper than fossil fuel. And because renewable energy is localized, it is easier to install in many parts of the world, it's leapfrogging over fossil fuel energy. And so I was really heartened when I sat there with Al Gore, and he basically said, I think we're making progress in a way that we did not believe that we would be several years ago. Why does it matter? Well, it matters to me because I look at my two young kids who are 13 and 10, and I expect them to ask me, what did you do when you were confronted with the biggest challenge that this world ever faced, its very existence? What did you do to address that challenge? I think we all in this room have to ask that question. How are we going to leave this world for the next generation? What are we going to leave people? My answer is I'm going to continue to fight to make sure that we are moving away from carbon-based fuel, because I believe that if we do not do that, then we are not meeting our obligation to the next generation. So that's what my answer is going to be. And you know, people ask, well, Vermont, what can we do? Well, you can already see what it is that we can do. We have become one of the leaders on a per capita base for solar jobs, but solar energy generation. We spend $3 billion on energy annually, and most of that money is shipped out of state. What we're doing now by creating capacity within this state is keeping dollars in the state and letting them circulate here and making sure that people are employed here rather than out of state. So not only are we making investments that are good for the planet, but we're making investments that are good for the economy. And that is a double win from my perspective. And we've got to tell that message over and over and over again. You know, the clean energy economy generates 15,000 jobs, maybe 16,000 jobs in the state of Vermont. That is a big deal. And we are putting Vermonters to work in companies like in my hometown, Morrisville, EcoFasten, that creates the fasteners for solar panels on roofs. We've got companies in Springfield and St. Johnsbury, when NSA Industries is helping with building the steel structures for the trackers. We've got Grennan's in Bristol. Local businesses are benefiting from this economy. But I can tell you, as somebody who spends time going around the state, that we are facing challenges as well. People are asking questions about siting. People are asking questions about cost. And we have to address those concerns. Because if we just bowl people over and don't engage in a conversation with them, we'll lose our legitimacy. And we have a great story to tell. We have a story about jobs, and we have a story about how we're creating a better planet. And here's the story that I think we don't tell enough. You know, in Vermont, we pride ourselves on this notion of a working landscape. And when I was a speaker a couple years ago, we passed the Working Lands Enterprise Fund. It was about making sure that we would continue to have an agricultural economy. We sometimes forget to talk about the fact that while farms harvest corn and wheat and grow cows, they also have the opportunity to harvest the wind and harvest the sun and make this part of our working landscape. That is in the grand Vermont tradition. That's part of our agricultural economy. That is part of what we believe Vermont should be, a working landscape where we get not only our food, but we get our energy from our land. That's the story we need to tell. We need to remind people that Vermont has always been about working the land, and getting our energy and harvesting our energy from the land is part of that. So, look, Siting infrastructure projects has always been difficult, and it's always been about balancing the public and private good. It's true with our interstates, it's been true with our power lines, it's going to be true with our energy generation. And it's going to be a conversation that we've got to have. But I can tell you that I believe that the public good necessitates that we continue to move forward towards a carbon-free energy economy. And as long as I am involved in public service in the state of Vermont, that will be top of mind as we move forward in Vermont. So we know, and I know you heard from Commissioner Springer, or actually not Commissioner Springer anymore, Chief of Staff Springer, and my guess is you probably heard a little bit from Representative Klein in his normal, unassuming, quiet way, that we are going to face some challenges this year around the siting question. And all I would ask is that you ensure that you're part of the conversation and tell the stories about what an incredible benefit to the state of Vermont your businesses and your views are creating. So I look forward to the conversation that we're going to have this winter, and I look forward to the progress that we will continue to make together as Vermonters, but as people who believe that what we're doing is making a difference for our children. So thank you very much.